We're starting off high.
So we can get
I
a
think
two fools agree on that one. Oh, by the way, look, we got the wide shot.
There was you had accountability. Now what I can
Now all you need is a podcast and a YouTube channel.
No, not even.
Where give me the money. Show me the money.
Apparently there's a Foolproof page.
Shoot the J. Shoot it. Live on Facebook.com/Foolproof Entertainment Network. I need you on Twitter. I need you to repost the Facebook pages.
To raise a human before I would
Trust human to raise back wolves.
before I would trust a pack of humans to raise a wolf.
Right. I hear you. Yo, what up, fools? Welcome to another edition of Do Fools Agree. As always, I am your host, Michael Reggie, here with my main man, Clifford Jordan Jennings.
That would be me.
That would be you.
That would be me today.
Just today, though. Just today.
Today, I don't know what y'all.
It might be
I don't know
else.
what y'all accusing me of now. I don't know if I'm gonna be me tomorrow.
Right. No, shit. Man.
But today I'm me.
How's your week been?
It's been a decent week.
Yeah?
I had to go to my cousin's funeral on Thursday. It wasn't bad though.
Okay.
It was all right. It was good to see some people I ain't seen in a while.
I mean, it sucks. Once you get to a certain age, that seems to be the only thing that brings people back together sometimes.
Mm-hmm. No, that's the motherfucking truth.
Yeah. Which is a shame, but life happens, man.
Listen, motherfuckers is busy.
Right.
I get it.
No
I
doubt.
get it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't got to talk to me every day and I don't lose love.
Absolutely. I mean, our little squad that we've had for years, like I could not talk to some of those guys for a year.
Right.
And call them or they call
No love
me
lost.
and it's like we just talked yesterday.
Right. We pick up where we left off.
No doubt. Oh,
But other
right.
than that, it wasn't a bad week.
Nah, that's good. Good. Glad to hear it.
Even with that including, it wasn't a bad week. It wasn't a good week, but it wasn't a bad
It wasn't a bad week. It can always,
Nah.
Murphy's Law, it can always be worse.
You know? Listen, and I understand that, baby. From somebody that's seen it firsthand.
Right. Oh, so I'm actually going to steal a fellow coach's inadvertent thought.
Okay.
So
I hope ours aren't similar.
no, they won't be.
Okay.
The entire Whitehall coaching staff actually died on Wednesday. And,
Y'all died?
And we have been stuck in football purgatory for the last 3
Oh,
days.
okay. I get it.
Dude, we were supposed to practice on Wednesday. We're supposed to have a game last night. And we ended up having a game today, but have been basically...
Y'all season ain't started yet, though.
It's last scrimmage. Week one's next week for Ohio High School.
Okay.
But yeah, we've been in rain delays or lightning delays rather for like the last 3 days, and it's
real.
It's been miserable.
I remember they didn't do those.
Man, and you know what's fucked up? And I'm gonna call out our opponent up at Westerville North. So last night was the worst. JV game started at 5:30. At about 5:38, they called the delay.
Right.
Entire team goes back in. They maintain the delay until like 7:45. Finally,
so 2 hours and 15 minutes.
So and we basically were gonna kill the JV
38.
game. And at one point, like the head coach from the other team basically said, "Well, you know, at 8 o'clock, you guys are either starting the bus or we're starting the clock. I'm like, cool, like great, dude. We
For
had
JV or for
this
varsity?
was for varsity.
Okay.
And I don't know whether it was a combination of the coaches or if it was their coaches. We brought the kids out at about 8:15 last night, and I don't know if you know what the sky looked like at 8:15 last night. I was looking for like Thor to land in the middle of the football field with his hammer. It was so bad. Like, we lined up the kids, and the officials refused to come out. They said, "Nah, y'all are dumb."
That's the best. That's the best football weather.
And so we ended up calling it at about 8:30, and then delaying it till today. And again, we start the game right about 5 o'clock. Don't get started.
Where were y'all at?
We were at Whitehall tonight. And yeah, so we did.
Was it storming?
No, it was just a quick couple bolts. Like, it never actually stormed. It was just lightning.
I was about to say, because I don't remember hearing.
Well, it's
too
the
much
time of
anything.
year. It's the time of year for for basically heat lightning, right? Like, August is always bad for that. And right now the conditions have just been right. And we tried to think about it, and then a bolt hit probably half a mile from the field, and we saw it hit. And it was like, all right, we're doing this again. Now, going back to last night, the high school football team, in a delay for almost 3.5 hours, the grade school team or the little kids played through the entire fucking store.
That's what I'm saying. I don't get it. Like, what the fuck? That's how we play. I used to love those games. Those were my favorite games, is when it was real muddy and rainy. And
but that was the thing, is there was no rain. It was no rain. It was literally just like wrath of God in the sky. Like, the God of Thunder was just sitting there playing. And one of the coaches, not Luke, which is who you would expect it to be, just kept showing us videos of like players getting struck by lightning on YouTube.
For real? That don't scare me. Let's go out there.
Oh man! So yeah, we've been stuck in purgatory for the level.
And if I do get struck, I hope I get struck making a good hit. Smaka!
Dude,
and that's all you see is white light and smell flesh.
He showed us one clip of this soccer player basically taking a practice shot at the goal, and the bolt must have hit right next to this dude, because you see like the turf pellets explode, and you don't see him. I'm like, did he get disintegrated? And then when it all settled down, you could tell he was just knocked out on the turf. But it was right as he kicked the ball.
Right.
The lightning struck.
Guy has a sense of humor.
Oh, man. And he got up, so he's okay. So it wasn't, like, super morbid. But it was like,
right.
Jesus. Like, he's showing us this while the sky is lighting up, and I'm sitting on the aluminum bench waiting for us to, like, make the call.
See, now that's where I wouldn't be now.
Right.
All right. I'm either going to be out on that field or I'll be standing up on the sideline. I'm not about to sit on your stadium seats. You get 150 people fried at one time.
Right. Like a Faraday cage.
Listen.
People are sitting on the outside.
I'm good on all that.
Oh, man. So that's that. Like I said, stealing an inadvertent thought. I will jump in a little bit because, you know, I like to give my team updates after we play, and it's that time of year, and we're back. So for those of you listening, expect the show to start later over the next couple of weeks. But that being said,
those will probably be remote.
Right. We just started slow, man. Offense
y'all do all right?
I mean, it wasn't bad. Like, we got beat, but it wasn't as bad as it probably could have been. And honestly, I think the kids were just tired of the delays. And Whitehall never comes out well to begin with. And
yeah, that's not one you can really put on them like that.
No.
Because I mean, it's hard to get back ready.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
When you
no,
get
once
ready and
get
you boost that adrenaline
going,
up, right, and then you dump it because you didn't get to use it.
Well, no,
then you got to boost it back up again a couple hours later. You don't get as much.
And that's that's exactly what happened. We got 2 series in. We got I can't remember if it was a 3 and out or no, it was a 4 and out. We got a 4 and out, gave the offense the ball, and then the lightning delay hit, and then they came out and just ran it down our throats the rest of the first quarter when we came back out. The good news is like we were in the right positions. We just
what's y'all's linebackers looking like?
We've got at least 2 that are good,
pretty all right. Okay,
yeah. And then we've got our 2 insides are pretty solid. 2 outsides they have something to prove.
Are they heat seekers or are they like passive, there for the play kind of players?
So what I would say is they're a little, one of them is a little more, the white boy is a little more passive. The light-skinned brother on the right side outside he's a little more aggressive. He's just raw.
He's still not a heat seeker.
Yeah, he's aggressive, but like aggressive, almost out of control aggressive. Meaning like he doesn't play the way he's coached. So our outside linebackers, if we're in a certain front, basically become like edge defenders, like
right,
tilted in, and you are taking away the edge kind of shit. And it's just bad angles, man.
Well, you know what though? That takes a different mind state because you're essentially playing 2 positions.
Agreed.
So at some point we need that aggression out of you, and at some point we need you to be able to sit back and read the play.
Yep.
And it's hard to turn it off in between if you're not built for that kind of.
The only thing that I'll say is so we run a multiple defense system.
Right.
So we've got a 3-4 set, a 4-3 set, and a 5-2 set.
Do y'all run any zones at all?
I mean, we are almost, and folks will see this on film if they watch us. We're almost an exclusively cover 3 team.
Okay.
Especially since your boy left. And he was the one, Casey. He was always the one that wanted to like mix shit up in the coverages, and our kids just don't get it. So give them one thing to focus on. They run cover 3, and then they run 2 lock. Like
I'm learning that that's the case with adults as well. From playing in this flag football team, it's only certain people that know coverages and know what your specific assignment is.
And on top of that, like it's exactly to your earlier point. It's a different mentality. Rotating between cover 3 and cover 2, it is a completely different ask of your corners, and your safeties. Like,
see, I like cover 2 because you expect me to cover the curls and the flats. So that means I'm probably going to get a hit out of that play.
No doubt.
Cover 3, I'm probably going to get a swat if they come in my direction.
If you're at corner, right.
Right.
Cover 3 is the linebackers who have the opportunity for the kill shot on
to
the
crack. I want to crack
and
even at the cornerback position, and usually that's open tackle. I'm still gonna crack your ass. I'm not armed. No, I'm cracking you.
So yeah, I mean that's where we're at. Offense. Real quick shout out to our boy Luke.
My guy.
Had a car accident in the family. He actually left.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Started. Everybody's okay. Car's totaled, but everybody's
glad to hear that.
So,
was it his fault or was it their fault?
I mean, it wasn't him. He was actually at the game, and his
I know. I mean,
it was the other person's fault. Yeah.
Okay. Who faked the neck injury?
Nobody yet. But rear-ended, red light. Basically.
Oh well, you might not have had to fake it.
A Dodge Ram fucking just annihilated.
Texan type shit.
Probably. Never hit the brake. Never. Yeah.
Texan.
You know that's
Texan.
Anyways, everybody's okay, but he wasn't there.
That's why you only text on the freak. No, I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
Well, and the thing was, if the dude had come to a stop at the red light, he could have texted all he fucking wanted.
I don't even do that. The most you'll see me do is change a song.
Yep.
On my phone.
And I got it.
And I don't even need to unlock it to do that.
Right.
I'm just got my phone in my hand, and I still look out for the police because I be thinking, my luck, they gonna see me changing the song and be like, he texting.
Right. Yep. And so, anyways, the offense. Okay. the line struggled because their coach wasn't there. We all tried to chip in there, and honestly, it was the snaps. Like it was typical Whitehall bullshit. You can't get the snap. It doesn't matter how many athletes you have if you can't snap the fucking football.
I would like to hear what you say. Oh, well, I guess you don't have nothing really coming Tuesday. But I would like to hear what you say come next week, regardless of which podcast, because I think a lot of that, it's kind of hard to attribute it to your team when y'all are going through that.
Yeah.
That delay and all that. Like, you don't know, like it's easy for the offense to lose steps when they don't got the same adrenaline they were coming out with.
And honestly, it's a kid who's never played varsity football before.
Oh, okay.
So
at quarterback or
at center.
Okay.
Snaps.
Oh, you did say the snaps were the issue. You did say that. Okay.
And we've got a short quarterback to begin with, and shit was going over his head. He was making great effort to try to catch it and
get set.
There were probably like 6 or 7 awful snaps. But like 5 of them, he managed to get like either into the running back's hand by tipping it to him, or the back was the one that grabbed it. Like,
oh, that's
so that's where we were at.
Varsity football or not,
it's inexcusable.
Right. Because you're still the center.
Right.
The intangibles don't change.
No, completely agree. And so
now you may have to snap longer in high school, but you're still operating in the same.
No, that is something that repetition should teach and muscle memory, and it shouldn't matter whether you're amped up.
It might be nerves. Like, I'm worried about the block. Let me just get it out of there. And where's it going?
Right. So other than that, I mean, offense looked okay. I think we got shut out, at least on the varsity. They may have scored one late. And I think we lost like either 27-6 or 26-6, something like that. It wasn't as bad as it looked, but it was still like they put up 13 points in that first quarter coming out of the delay, and we we didn't really give another one up with the starters in. So it's like, at least defensively. Now offense, I don't talk about our offense because my boy Jeff is the one that coaches it and he gets sensitive, so I'll leave him alone today.
Well, get it right, Jeff. Fuck that sensitive shit. It's the mind and body understanding. You better mind and body your ass to understand that offense needs to step up.
At the end of the day, though, if you can't snap the football, it doesn't matter what you're calling as an offensive coordinator.
Right, you're right. You are right on that.
So that's the weekly high school football update. You got any inadvertent thoughts to keep us going?
You know what? And it's funny because the inadvert may run right into that.
Nice.
Because I've had this thought long before the funeral on Thursday, but the pastor said something that kind of solidified my thought that I had. I can't remember what his words were exactly, but I've been saying the reason why I feel like I've been missing in life is because I'm playing the route and not the ball, if that makes sense. So in a sense of, I'm always focused on the now, when really I need to be running through the route, through the ball, and be where the ball's going to be, as opposed to running my route expecting the ball's gonna be there. You know what I mean? Like I feel like in life, I'm a step or two behind, and I feel like it's because I'm not running through the ball.
I got you.
You know, like even like especially when you're coaching like a wide receiver or something like that, you train them to run the route like you expect to be passed to every time.
Yep. You've got to anticipate the right thing is going to happen.
Right. And if you're running the route just to take up space on the field, that ball doesn't usually come to you.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you.
And in the sense of life, I'm thinking of it as not being Bobby Fischer, right? I'm not thinking 2 steps ahead. I'm not thinking of where that ball is going to be. I'm thinking of my route.
I hear you. So
that's the issue. I'm thinking in the present when I should be thinking 2 steps ahead of myself to be where that ball's going to be, run through the finish line.
No, I think that makes sense. And honestly, like that is, I don't know. There's a balance there, right? Like, because if you're not running your route correctly, if you're not in the now, you can't anticipate. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to be on the right track before you can anticipate the greatness to come.
Right. And that's, I can't remember the words that the pastor said, but it was essentially in the same realm where it's like the present doesn't really matter, right? You know what I mean? Like, you know how people say, like, speak shit into existence. You speak shit into existence.
The manifestation, yeah.
Right. But when you plan shit out, like while people say write down your goals 5 and 10 years ahead, because when you do that, what you're essentially doing is manifesting that to come, because those plans don't continue unless that thing came to fruition.
Right. Well, and it's
5 years.
Yeah. If you're not advancing, you're standing still. And if you're standing still, you're falling behind.
And if you're playing for the present, everybody else is going to be 3 steps ahead of you.
Right.
So that's why, I feel like my inadvertent came from the fact, and I really do wish I could remember his exact words, but essentially it was just the living in the now isn't enough. You have to have a path, a route set out. Yeah. You know what I mean? And
things don't I don't want to say things don't happen by accident.
That's good. You know what? It's funny. It's funny that you said that too. It's funny that you said it too. And keep your thought, because I really didn't want to cut you off. But when you said that, he said that exactly as well. He said, don't take your blessings for granted as well. Because he said you might think it's a luck of the draw that you're walking down the street and you see $100 bill on the ground, but that's a blessing that was placed in your path, and that didn't happen by accident. Right. Whether you think so or not, it didn't happen by accident.
And I think the Urban Meyer, as much as I can't stand him, has a good.
I'm teetering.
Has a good saying, and it's the whole luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And I think that that's in the same vein as what you're talking about, in terms of you've got to anticipate the right thing's going to happen,
right,
and do what you can to make it happen. And
when you run that route like you know you're going to get the ball,
right,
you're probably going to get it.
Yeah.
Because you ran that route like you knew you was going to get that ball, and the quarterback saw that. Right. Oh, he has 3 steps ahead of his man. I got to hit him.
Well, and the flip side of it is even if you don't get the ball that time, if you maintain that effort, chances are they're going to find you. But if you give up the next play and, to your point, jog your route or don't get that block, they're like, well, he's not in it. He's not in it to win here. Or
worse, don't run through the ball and the quarterback catch you a hand in front, and it's like, well, you could have had that if you'd have ran through that route.
I saw it 2 or 3 times tonight where deep ball was thrown nicely, and typically we don't throw a lot of deep balls.
Right.
But dude let up. Didn't run through it, and quarterback overthrew him. Like,
at the end of the day,
quarterback's going to throw that ball again? No.
Right. And at the end of the day, it's about you. You know what I mean? Especially being on a football field, it's about your job. It's not about that quarterback's job.
Yeah.
It's about your job. The quarterback is or is not going to get that ball to you, but your job is to run that route to the best of your ability. And if you don't do it and the quarterback accidentally overthrows you because of such, that's even worse than a regular incompletion.
Yeah. Real quick.
It's almost like self-sabotage. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, what up, Malk? See you out in the chat.
Malk in the chat.
Well, it's interesting that we're like a little bit on football, but almost tangentially. I had another kind of
That's an
inadvertent.
interesting word, tangentially.
I had another inadvertent thought. I can't remember if it was last night or today when I got to the field. That football field and coaching at Whitehall in particular is the only place, maybe other than this show with you, that I feel like I can really just be my authentic self.
Right.
Like,
no, I know exactly what you mean.
I can get angry and flare up and calm down and then talk through it with the kid, and they respond well to it. And
that's
like,
your damn, I can't think of the word I'm looking for.
it's my happy place.
Yeah, that's the dumb easy word.
No,
but if there was something I was looking
Valhalla.
for specifically, you could go there. You could go there, but that's essentially all it is. You know what I mean? It's funny, and that's very funny. And I'll take it here. And this is odd to me, right? This is going to be an odd place for me to take it, right?
Mike Brown and Rob are there too. What up?
But you know what? And I'm not, once again, I don't mean to offend anyone. But I feel like a lot of the confusion, because there is confusion, especially sexually, genderly, whatever you want to call it. There's confusion. That's why there's a Q at the end of that acronym.
Right.
Because there's confusion. And I feel like the confusion comes from the fact that we don't let kids, well, more specifically, boys be boys.
No, we're trying to this is something.
No, I understand the correction. I don't,
time.
once again, I don't want to cut you off, but I know the people listening that are sensitive at heart can take that the wrong way. And I don't mean not letting boys be boys, because there is a bigger issue with letting boys be too much of boys that's now being overcorrected. And I feel like that's where we are with this situation, because have you ever heard, I don't know if, I'm sure you've heard your girlfriend say, why is it that you like kicking it with your guys more than you do with me? And that's because naturally, as a man, right? As a man, you were one of two things at the beginning of all times: the hunter or the gatherer.
Right.
The gatherers spent time with the women.
Yep.
But the hunters spent time with the men.
Hunters, yeah.
That's where they were comfortable. And they were comfortable because when they were out hunting, they knew that man had their six.
Right.
That man saved my life, or that man's protected me, or I've been to battle with that man.
Yep.
I have respect for that man for this reason. And that's why I enjoy being around them, because, and it's almost funny because I don't mean it in a sense of love, but it's almost a completion when you're with your male counterpart.
I mean,
it's like I'm whole now because I know he got what I don't got. I got what he don't got. We're good here.
Well, and on top of that, isn't that the principle behind football?
That's what I'm getting at.
At the end of the day, that's exactly you just defined the game of football. Everybody has their role, but when they work together as a unit, they are
it's
one
300.
machine, one heartbeat. Yeah.
It's 300. If you don't have your shield on my shoulder, bro, I'm dead. You have to cover me, and I have to cover him. So be there when I need you.
And honestly, this is going to sound weird. That's almost the male version of emotional intimacy.
Being there for
what women talk about in terms, especially with, I get this feedback from my wife in terms of emotional intimacy and not understanding.
It's not always
feelings.
there,
and it has nothing to I don't have the same feelings as you.
Right.
But just because I don't reciprocate necessarily in the way you want me to, doesn't mean that they're not that I don't care. It means that I don't want to go as far as saying incapable, but it is difficult for me to express things the way you want to see me express them, because that's not how I was built. That's not how I was raised. That's not my DNA.
And you know what's
And
funny
to that
is if
point
you're
of
not
being like the hunter versus the gatherer, always been a hunter.
right.
Always been out after that next thing. And honestly, this cozy fucking suburban life drives me fucking nuts. Because I don't know what that next like thing that I'm going after. And honestly, it's been good this year because I have rededicated myself to football. And because I like these kids, I think that they care. I think I'm seeing the right behaviors. And the last couple of years, it wasn't there. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, to your point, do you have my back? Like,
Right.
Even coach to player, it's the same way.
That's all
like,
I need. That's all you need is a man.
Yeah.
That's all. I don't
put you
need
out
anything
there-
else. Just know that you're that I can count on that one.
Right.
That one I can count on. I can turn my back to that one, and that one's gonna make sure I'm covered.
Right.
Don't care about the hugs or the kisses, but is that what's going on? Are you back there? I'm good. I'm good. But what I was going to say with you saying that is it's almost like your cat, you know what I mean? And I don't want to attest it to not knowing a person, but I think I would attest it to not paying attention.
Yeah.
Because when I say it's like a cat, have you ever, then you know I'm not a cat person, but a cat will show their affection in ways that will throw you off.
Like, what the fuck are you doing?
You know what I mean? Like how they'll like kill a mouse and present it to you like, like, look what I did. I got it. Like, have that. And you're like, oh my gosh, that's so fucking nasty. But that cat saying, I got this here. I got that. And I'm giving this to you to show you I got shit. But you don't look at it from that cat's perspective. So you don't always equate that to affection being shown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because when you think about it from a cat, half the time I don't see you anyway. You're only around when I feed you or you want to get petted.
Right.
So when you do present a mouse to me, that should mean a lot more than I take that in as. You feel what I'm saying?
No, completely do. And
that's the equivalent, I feel like.
I don't well, and cat versus like, not to say
hunter gatherer.
Not to say that dogs are gatherers, but it depends on the dog. Cats are hunters. And I see my mom out in the chat asking if she's a hunter or a gatherer. Mom, you're a hunter too.
She's a hunter.
Where do you think I get it from?
She's that's not a question. She didn't even have to ask that for herself. She's a hunter.
I think my dad was probably more the gatherer in that, and that's only what I saw, not what he was when he was young. So
listen, all I know is Reitz is the hunter.
No questions asked.
I don't even think you have to know her to recognize that.
No doubt. Oh, man.
But that's different, though. You just said it, right? When you come from a situation where your mom is that, it's kind of hard for you to then be gatherer at heart.
No.
Because your mother is the natural role you expect to be the gatherer. You know what I mean? But her as the hunter as well, it kind of puts you in a situation where it's like, I'm double that.
Right. And to that end, losing my dad when I did,
mm-hmm.
I have always had the thought of, well, and we've talked about this on the show before, like, who am I if he doesn't die, or if he doesn't pass away while I'm at kind of that formative preteen going into being a teenager time. I don't think I've got the maybe in that case I end up being more of a gatherer, but that's where
yeah, no, you definitely would have been
full-blown hunter.
You definitely would have been, I think, if that was the case.
Because I've got to witness, like, you know, she and I had issues when I was a teenager. I think all teenagers have issues with their parents, but like the way that she manages stuff and the way, like, I operate like my mom, and I love you, Mom, but sometimes that's a detriment too.
No, I definitely understand that also. Coming from who I come from, I get that as well. But you just explained it full circle, because you said you don't know who the person that you would be. And I could tell you, yes, you would be a gatherer.
Yeah.
If that was the case, because you were comfortable.
I don't disagree with that.
You were just comfortable, just being yourself, just being you, right? And then that, I'm not saying that fire wasn't in you, but it definitely came out when he passed.
Absolutely.
And then it was like, okay, something kicked in. That was that, okay, I'm not so comfortable. I don't know why I was so comfortable before. Let me adjust.
Right.
Right.
And more often than not, it was fight. And so.
Listen, I mean, that's life, baby.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I mean, for anybody listening with a different insight, I feel like that's a great way to explain certain individuals. And I would definitely say me and you fall into that category.
Yeah. Well, and again, and that's not, and I want to point out, like, it's obviously not gender based, because we're talking about my mom.
It's definitely not
like,
gender based.
No. And so I think that's kind of where all this started, maybe a little bit, but like it's just two different personality types. And at the end of the day,
that's what I'm saying. Yeah. There were women that hunted as well.
Exactly.
There weren't just, there were women that went out with those men and hunted, and you can definitely see that. It kind of goes back into our conversation that we had last week or the week before about the archetypes, the four archetypes. And I said how women fall under a lot of those as well.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely.
it's a lot of, it's almost to the point, and I'm gonna be honest here, and this is weird, right? Because a lot of the women in my family are aggressive.
Yeah.
They're very aggressive, right? And I think that's why I find a more rougher woman attractive. And I don't mean rough as in looks, but I mean rough as in like
she's a hunter too.
That's what I'm getting at, I guess, is that it's
not the opposites attract for you. It's like attraction.
Right. I don't need you to rub my back. I just need to know you got my 6.
Yeah.
That's all I need. You know what I mean? That's the love. You're giving me love off of that. You know what I mean? We can hug, we can kiss, we can do all that. But at the end of the day, that doesn't make me feel special.
Right.
What makes me feel special is knowing that I can put 150% of my trust in you and you'll get it done.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that.
One excuse is too many excuses. Oh, I forgot. Oh, I wasn't thinking about, I had too much to do. That's enough for me. Right. You just let me know exactly what that 6 needs. That means I have to cover it myself. So that means by me covering my 6, I have to take away what I'm giving you.
I have to take, exactly. I have to take my attention away from what I'm
trying
to find.
I can't give you that now because I know you don't have my 6. So I got to cover my 6 myself as well as move forward. And then you expect me to give you all in return? That's not going to happen.
Well, and it's funny. Malcolm's calling it out in the chat as loyalty. I'll actually argue that. If all I want
it's more than loyalty.
Yeah, if all I want is loyalty, I'll get a fucking dog.
Yeah, it's more than loyalty.
That's not it. There's a difference between loyalty and trust. And Cliff, you hit it spot on. If you tell me you're going to do something and you don't do it,
one excuse is too many for me.
And I wouldn't go necessarily that far, but it's like if you repeatedly tell me you're going to do something and you don't. Like,
nah, with me, one excuse is too many. Because that's a red flag.
I am willing to like let the thing, and that's part of my issue. And honestly,
I'm not letting that go.
Part of things is I tell myself I'm letting it go, and I don't, and that's what counseling's for.
Yeah, no, you're right. And you know what? That's another thing. It is hard sometimes to do that, especially it's easier to let shit go when you're not constantly reminded, though, as well.
True.
So if something else comes up and it's like, yeah, you did it, but you didn't do what I asked you to do.
Right.
It's like now I'm remembering back when you didn't do it as well.
Right. Right. Or
so now I'm bringing up red flags like, yeah, You might not have got ejected from the game, but you got a yellow card.
No, absolutely.
Watch your slide tackles.
Well, and it's the repeated micro fractures of trust can add up to major breaches in trust.
Right.
And I think that sometimes that to me is what you're saying, like, completely on board with, from the sense of you brought up, like, mess up once, like, I'm watching it, whatever. My almost bigger issue is when you follow through, but it's follow through in, like, a half-ass manner. That's
a mess up.
Yeah.
That's something that I can get over with a conversation, explaining that I don't want to seem anal or whatever, but that's not the way I expected that to be done.
Yep.
If you could next time do it this way, and then if next time you partially complete, that's a whole. Listen, this isn't baseball, right?
That's 1.5, which rounds up to 2.
You do not get 3 strikes. You don't get 3 strikes with me. This is not a courtroom. I don't need to find you guilty. I am not a judge nor referee. You get 1 time to fuck up with me. Period.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that comes from past traumatic experiences where it's like motherfuckers fucked up too much and you had to accept. Yeah, I don't accept that anymore.
Yeah.
Because effort is easy to give. You know what I mean?
Again, I'll take it back to football. Like, the kid who goes in there and does it wrong, but does it wrong 100 miles an hour, I can get behind. The kid that does it wrong,
I can correct that.
Like, half-assed, no, get the fuck off.
I can correct that. You just have your blinders on. You're not seeing what I see. And I'm old. I'm your coach. I'm the one that's supposed to develop you into this.
Right.
Start looking at this.
Absolutely.
Turn those fucking windshield wipers on and see clearly. I don't need you running 1,000, driving 100 miles into the rain.
Yep.
So maybe we need a rain delay.
And Cliff with the callback.
You know, maybe that's why the little kids got to play, because they're like, it doesn't really fucking matter now. Doesn't matter now. When you get older, it's gonna matter. Right now, just fucking play.
Just play.
We trying to go home.
Man.
We got beers to drink and mamas to fuck.
All right. Got any other inadvertents? Any other topics you want to cover?
No, I'm trying to get into the thick of it.
Oh, you want to get into the Suicide Squad?
Let's talk about the sixes being covered.
So, with the Suicide Squad, dropped on HBO Max, last week, I think.
Last Friday, I believe.
What were your impressions?
If I'm being honest, and I have from seeing people's comments, I'm on the latter side.
Okay.
I think it was better than the first one.
Okay.
Now, it may not have had the brand name characters that the first one had in it, but when you're building a 2 off of that fact, you can't really, unless you're continuing that first story.
Right.
And I honestly don't think we were interested in seeing another story with those people. So I think they hit it out the park, in my opinion.
We got the one character we wanted from the first one.
Harley. And it wasn't even really Harley. It was Margot Robbie.
Well, yeah.
They could have brought her in as a secretary on the other side. Probably would have watched it. But I like I said, I like her better as Harley Quinn.
I'm with you, and I'll watch any movie that has Margot as Harley. I watched the Birds of Prey.
I love that though. She hadn't missed with me as far as being
not being Harley Quinn. Yeah,
right. She hasn't missed with me. Not one movie has she been in as her that I did not. Well, wait, was she in any? Yeah, she was in the Batman, wasn't she? No, that was Suicide Squad when they were explaining how she
and Joker got together. Yeah,
right. And she jumped into that shit or whatever. Okay, so yeah, she hadn't missed. Every movie she's been in as a superhero or super villain or whatever you want to call it, I've loved.
I completely agree, and she.
I love Birds of Prey. I love them all.
I don't want to. The only thing I fear is that she falls into the Jennifer Lawrence playing Mystique, where you could tell by like 3 films in she was done with it, but she was in like a 6-film deal.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
But the flip side of it is, I think
she enjoys it.
No, I think Margot Robbie's the producer, or is at least a credited producer on all of
really?
those movies. Like anything that Harley Quinn is in. Like she was the executive producer on Birds of Prey.
You could tell she had. Yeah, I did see that.
Fabulous Harley Quinn.
You could tell that's a little bit of her personality, though.
It is. Well, I think typecasting, and yes, like, the way she plays that character, I think brings that character to life in the perfect way. And I don't know. I don't think I've seen any real negative feedback or backlash on her as Harley Quinn.
Man, that's an amplified version of her actual personality.
No,
and if that's the case, I dig it.
Right. If that's the case, that's wifey.
Listen, I dig it. I ain't gonna lie to that. No. You know what I'm saying?
And you're usually not one for white girls.
You're right, but listen. At least not blonde ones.
Right. Those blonde ones, you gotta watch out for them. Oh,
brunettes, you can at least pretend like they Spanish. I'm just playing. Not really.
Not really, no.
Not really at all.
No.
I was kidding!
Not really.
But, so what I liked about it was, so one, my problem is that I watched it during the last 2 weeks, which have just been not great. Professionally.
Right.
All that kind of shit. So, the first time I watched it, I fell asleep. Because I had worked, like, it was the week of 2-a-days. It was last week where it was 2-a-days plus work, and I was putting in probably 50 hours at work on top of doing 2-a-days.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't fall asleep. My HBO fucked up. Did you have that issue where too many people was watching it at the same time and it kept?
The first day I tried to watch it, and that was part of the reason why I fell asleep.
Because I finished it over a couple days because of that issue.
Yeah. And I went back, and so I did rewatch the whole thing. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I lost interest at different points and kind of started doing other shit. But overall, I mean, it wasn't bad. And to your point, using at least characters that I'm not familiar with.
Right.
It was serviceable. I mean,
right.
It was entertaining. It wasn't bad. And honestly, I thought, while I found it a little off-putting and a little weird, the end of the movie, the climax of the movie with the giant starfish.
Right.
I was glad to see it not be some big laser beam in the sky with thousands of bad guys showing up, like the first Suicide Squad, like every fucking Marvel movie. Like,
did the first Suicide Squad do that?
Yes. Because
I thought they fought that big dude at the end.
No, wasn't that the Queen or whatever? Wasn't it like damn, what's her name? Wasn't it like Sophie Botella? And it was the big laser in the sky and like the putties at the end of the movie.
I don't know. I thought the Suicide Squad was when they were at that. Remember at the end when they was fighting that big thing, like with the blue light behind it or whatever.
Well, yes, you're right, but. Before it gets to that point, you're right.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, okay, right, okay,
and a bunch of bad guys, and then yes, they zone in on the
You're
one
right,
big
you're
bad
right,
guy.
you're right. You're absolutely correct.
So with all that, like it was cool to see something different. I could tell from the second that Starro showed up that was the reason Harley Quinn had the javelin.
You know what?
Like,
I never understood it.
Eye. That's how this is going down. She's putting it through the eye. It's done.
I didn't connect that, and I usually do good with connecting shit.
Oh, no. As soon as it showed up, I'm like, yep, that's what the javelin's for.
I think I just kind of wrote it off like she did. Like, fuck it. Like, what the fuck is this?
Well, and honestly, like, her entire arc in that movie is fantastic. Like, she... You know, the mobster or the gangster, or was it, I don't even remember, it was like the political leader, the mayor or something, basically tries to wife her up. She goes along with it, and then just fucking shoots her.
Gangster. It was just so gangster. We talked about red flags.
Everything about Harley Quinn's a red flag. Come on now.
She said, and you know what? That might be why I find her attractive. We might be coming full circle on this entire podcast, right? 3 different ways. I said that's why I like a rougher female, right?
Yep.
Secondly, I said I trust. Well, no, that's not what I said. I said that I only will give motherfuckers one shot, which means I trust my instincts.
Right.
Like Harley Quinn,
like
knowing
Harley
that.
Quinn did. Exactly.
Right. Knowing that I may not make the best decisions myself. So when I see a red flag, I got to back out of that for the sake of me.
Yep.
So it kind of makes sense why I would find her attractive, I guess.
Right. No, I'm with you. And at the end of the day, like the other storyline with Peacekeeper and like basically John Cena as the Captain America, if you didn't have a moral compass. I knew you would.
I liked him. I did. I liked him, and I understood exactly what he was saying. It takes the death
of a couple thousand people and women and children to protect America. That's what
I understood what he was saying, though. I understood what he was saying, and he was playing a microcosm of our government.
Right. We'll do it.
No, I'm not saying I agreed, but I understood exactly what he was saying.
Yeah.
Like, if it took this or peace, I got to be the peacekeeper.
Right. Right.
That's a big burden on my shoulders, and it seemed like, in my opinion, he was handling it correctly.
It was good to see John Cena in another villain role.
Now that makes sense why he was apologizing to China like that after seeing all that.
Right. But I mean, I don't know. I find the guy entertaining. He's got. Have you seen?
I don't mind him. I hate his fucking jean shorts and his wristbands.
Yeah, no
but
shit. But you go to that same speedway. You filled up recently and seen the preview for what is it, like Friends from Vacation or something? Oh,
they show it on the pump?
Yeah.
No, I haven't seen that.
Dude,
it's got John Cena in it or something?
It's got John Cena, and I honestly can't remember who else is in the movie.
I liked him in, what's it called?
But it's basically this black couple who is, the way it starts off is like this black couple at a very, an outdoor but very like serene wedding. And they drive the truck through the fence, and and John Cena and his wife get out of the car. They're like, "You didn't invite us," and you find out that like they met this couple down in Mexico, and it's just wild shit. And John Cena is his usual intense self, but he's doing he's doing the comedic stuff, which is where I love it. Like him in Blockers.
That's what I was about to say. That's the movie. I like that.
The movie is fantastic.
Yeah, I like Blockers. I think I may own that movie.
I think I do too. Actually, you know what? That's what I'm watching after the show tonight to fall asleep to.
Yeah, I think I own that movie somewhere.
Oh man. But
yeah, no, I enjoyed it. And at the same time, I understand that DC has to make a grab, right?
Absolutely, especially because Marvel looks like they're going to falter.
And it looks like this is the opportune time to try to push the intensity to take the lead here.
And honestly, they have, at the end of the day, they've got better villains. Like DC's pantheon of villains is better than Marvel's.
I don't know anything about any of that, and we're going to get into it when we name our supervillains list.
Our own Suicide Squad?
Listen, we're going to get into that because I had to make 2 different ones.
Oh, did you? All right.
Yeah, I did.
All right.
Just because I don't know a lot of supervillains like that. Yeah, so I made a supervillain one, and then I made a regular guy one.
Well, and the one that my problem was I kept going between... Honestly, I kept going between, to your point, like the supervillain versus like a heist squad, which we've done before. So I'm with you. Like I tried to default back to kind of the supervillains, And
I don't know enough.
I'll be curious to see your list. Do you have anything else to say about the Suicide Squad other than the fact that Idris Elba, again, is somebody that can do no wrong?
It's him and Harley Quinn fucking.
I don't know.
I think they're fucking. Didn't she try to fuck Will in the first one?
I think there was some attraction there, but the first one,
It would not like try to like try, you know what I mean? But she said some things that let you know.
Well, but that's, I mean, I feel like Harley kind of gets around.
You think?
Yes.
I didn't really think.
As a hunter, I believe she gets around. And that's not a bad thing.
Fair.
I'm not
fair.
shaming.
That's
I'm
a
saying,
fair.
hey, if that's what you want to do it.
That's a fair take.
And maybe that's just because she's all over every porn site known to man.
Right.
Maybe it's just wired into my brain that way.
With a dick.
She's Deadpooling some guy.
She said these boots are made for walking, huh? Okay, Harley.
Man.
I don't want the Harley with the dick.
Margot. Watch anything with her, man.
That is hilarious.
Has she
Has she
changed up her look in a movie, or is she? I mean,
nah.
Harley Quinn, I guess, is kind of changing up the look. But it's
Nah, it ain't.
Yeah.
Nah, she hasn't.
All right.
She was in Wolf of Wall Street. She was in fuck. What the fuck is the name of that movie with Will Smith? Where they were robbing motherfuckers. Focus.
Yeah.
She was in, of course, the Harley Quinn joints. I feel like there's one more I'm forgetting. I'm sure there's more than one, but there's one more major one I'm forgetting. I can't think.
Been.
Oh, if she goes brunette, I'm looking for her.
Oh, she was in I, Tonya, which is also blonde and.
Oh, I don't know I, Tonya. Nah, you couldn't. Nah, she's one of them. You couldn't pass her for no Spanish.
No, you couldn't.
She's Russian if she goes dark.
If she.
Which is another one that I definitely
It's another natural hunter.
Listen, I'm just saying.
You ever seen the what is it? The Americans with basically the Russian spy syndicate, sleeper cell.
I know exactly the show you're talking about, but I haven't watched it. Is it good?
It's worth a watch.
Okay, I have heard good things about it, but I haven't watched it.
And it's a good series to pick up, like if you've got nothing else, because you'll get sucked in.
It ain't got Margot Robbie in it.
No, but it's got Carrie Russell.
Who's Carrie Russell?
She is that one that can Felicity. She could pass for Spanish, but she plays Russian in that one.
Nah, she still ain't it.
It's fair enough.
She still ain't it.
Oh man! All right, so who you got? You got 2 lists.
Yeah, I got 2. Because I only have 5 on my supervillain list.
Okay.
And if I'm giving my supervillain list, which is, I don't know, I feel like I could still get the job done with these 5. We're really 4. The 5th was just to add in because I felt like 4 wasn't enough. Yeah, of course, I gotta have the Joker in there.
Okay.
Gotta have the Joker. I feel like his mind was right. He just didn't execute correctly.
Now, I guess this means that I have to ask the
which Joker?
Yeah, which Joker?
I'm going what's his name? What's his name?
Heath Ledger?
Nah, G.
Oh no. Are you talking the one from Suicide Squad?
Yep. Jared Leto. I'm going Jared Leto. I'm going Jared Leto. I'm going tatted up gold teeth Joker.
All right. I could see that for you. Yeah.
I'm going that Joker. Then I'm going Phoenix. I'm going Jean Grey.
Okay. I can get behind that.
You got to. You can't have a super villain squad without Jean Grey in there. Then I'm going Thanos.
Okay.
Then here's the kicker. This is the one that listen, I'm gonna tell you. I'm going Quinn from Old Guard.
Okay.
You seen that movie Old Guard?
I started it and I couldn't finish it, but I know who you're talking about.
The girl that was locked in the ocean that had to die for 100 years. Her. I'm going with her. And at the end of the movie, they didn't show what her power was, but I just know if you had to spend that long at the bottom of the ocean, I could only imagine the resentment and hate and anger that you have developed. And I couldn't imagine what you could do if you unleashed it on anybody. So I got to have her in there.
All right.
And then last one was really just for one quote that they had in a movie. And I got to go with Rorschach from The Watchmen.
Okay. I can see that.
You know what quote it was that I'm talking about? When he was in the prison and he burnt the dude with the grease and he said, when y'all going to realize y'all ain't locked up, or he said, I'm not locked up with y'all. Y'all are locked up with me. And I said, yeah, that line, I'll never forget that. They gave me chills down my spine, and not in like no scary way, but like that is the most gangster shit I had ever heard in a situation like that.
That's absolutely it.
So I had to add him in there. And I know he's not against the gunplay, so superhero. He was more of a superhero than a villain, but he was a troubled superhero. So I added him to the list.
Gotcha.
Now my regular villains list is mean, but right, I want to hear what you got before we do pause. That.
And honestly, looking at mine, I'm going to give one that is more superhero-esque.
Right.
And then I will come back to my list, which was a little more grounded.
Right.
So what I will say is similar to you. I'm going to go Joker, but it's going to be the Heath Ledger Joker.
Okay.
So
he was unhinged.
Was he though? Was he?
He was unhinged.
No, Jared Leto's Joker is much more unhinged than Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger just wanted to watch the world burn, and he wanted to prove that the world would burn. Now I could really fuck you up and go with the Joaquin Joker from The Joker.
He wasn't bout it enough.
No, he wasn't. Not at that point, which is why why it's Heath.
That was the introduction of the Joker, but he wasn't yet bout it to be added to my list at that point.
Yeah.
That was the indoctrination, the exodus of the Joker.
Yeah.
So I don't think you were quite there yet. Now, once you cut all your hair off and get gold teeth and tattoos, and you got the baddest bitches in your city willing to kill for you, I think you're smart. That's why I got to put you at the top. Thanos wouldn't have been the leader of that. It would have been the Joker.
Yeah.
Thanos is the muscle. Quinn is the fear. And Phoenix is the I get it done.
Raw rage.
Yeah, that's the one I bring out when all else fails.
So, all right. So I'm going to go Joker. Heath Ledger Joker. I'm going to go Michael Myers because you can't kill the dude.
He's slow though.
He's slow, but he's menacing. It's fine.
He'll get killed by my regular squad.
No, you can't kill him. He doesn't die.
You can kill him.
That's my point. Like, no, you think you killed him, but
I was about to say Jodie Foster. What's her name?
Oh damn.
She showed you could kill him.
Yeah, that's true.
Cut his head off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, but leave me alone. So Michael Myers.
Right, and that was a regular female that did that.
That's true.
Not a regular, but
right. I don't know if regular is the right word there.
Well, I didn't mean jokes by that. I meant
I got The next one is the Xenomorph from Alien. Alien from Alien. Or Aliens.
See, that's interesting that you would go that. That's interesting that you would go that route. Because I almost thought to put the Predator in my That motherfucker ain't got shit on the Predator.
Well, play the game. Did you ever play the game Alien Isolation on Xbox?
No, but I do remember that. I
Like,
do remember.
where basically, like, if you made a sound in real life and you had a connector or whatever, like, it would spike the meter on the game and the shit would pop out of nowhere.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Couldn't play that one around the house. So the Xenomorph. The next one that I have is Mystique, because she can get close because she can shapeshift into whatever the fuck she wants.
That makes sense.
And you gotta have the attractive female in there, so Jennifer Lawrence. I
don't know so much Blue though.
She can be anything you want. She can look like Harley Quinn if you want her to.
Yeah, I guess you're right, huh? I guess you are right.
The next one, who is he's our vehicle specialist, is Benny. I'm gonna bet you don't know who Benny is.
I definitely don't know who Benny is.
But if I give you the line, "Screw you, Benny," do you know the movie?
That is from Total Recall.
Yes. So Benny from Total Recall. He's kind of my cannon fodder. And then the last one is TK-421, the stormtrooper from the first Star Wars movie. Again, just meant to be cannon fodder. He just goes out there to get killed.
See, yeah, my squad taking your squad out.
Yeah, I think you're right. But again, that was on the fly with ones that I contemplated but didn't end up using because I went more real.
Listen, my real squad's taking that squad out.
Let's hear it then.
Okay, I gotta go first. I'm going with Anton Chigurh. No Country for Old Men.
Okay. All right.
You know I'm talking about, the old funny face dude that was tracking him down? Right? I'm going with that. Then I'm going Harlan Maguire, Road to Perdition.
Okay.
The guy that killed Tom Hanks at the end of the movie with he took pictures of all the people he killed.
Yep.
Then I'm going Brandon Wolf from The Accountant, the hitman that turned out to be his little brother at the end of the movie, Ben Affleck's little brother.
Yeah, I got you.
I wanted to put Ben Affleck on there, but I didn't know if he was a protagonist.
Or if he was a villain necessarily.
Right.
Like he's kind of an anti-hero, but
Right. So I didn't put him down there. So then I went Aaron Hallam from The Hunted, Benicio del Toro.
Okay.
Dude that was good with the knife, that he was breaking into shit, all that. He was doing this shit. Then I went Robert McCall, Denzel Washington from The Equalizer.
Okay.
Then I went Agent 47
from Hitman.
Love it. And lastly, I went with
Hitman's a good call.
Right. Lastly, I went with Tommy Flanagan from Smoking Aces, the dude that killed that dude and took his face and played dead and got out. I had to go with him because he was a cold motherfucker, boy.
Smoking Aces, was that the one with Alicia Keys?
Yeah, and Common. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right.
That's another good one that I ain't seen that in a while. I might have to.
So I'm gonna steal that one. Alicia Keys from Smoking Aces. Can't remember the character's name.
She got carried. She got carried down the steps. That bitch ain't lasted through the first round of my Suicide Squad coming in.
All right. So who'd you say the leader was?
Oh, of that squad?
Yeah.
It gotta be Agent 47.
Okay.
Calculation is the key, and when you're at that kind of hitman, you can't make no mistakes.
So I will counter Agent 47. And when we talked about this topic, I said I wanted one potentially real person, but they've done
right. The mobster, you said it was a mobster. I almost said I could guess, but
well, you got it, or did you hear me?
No, I didn't hear you.
Who do you think?
But I'm not gonna lie, I feel like I heard Frank.
Yeah. So does it tell you?
No, it doesn't. Because I was immediately thinking,
Tony Montana.
no, and you know what? I was
I
gonna
was
add.
kidding.
I was gonna add the dude that killed Tony to my list.
Okay.
I was gonna add him, but I felt like he didn't really do enough
Gotcha.
on his own. At least he just snuck up behind while there was a distraction, and that was a big ass distraction. So I felt like you didn't deserve to be on my list. I'm looking for the people that don't stop coming type
Right.
shit.
Which is why
That's why I
Michael
like
Myers in my superhero one.
Well, see that, but that he listen. All my guys is gunslingers.
Yeah, and honestly, like so because I was going back and forth between the two types of lists, mine ends up being a lot more psychological.
And I almost wanted to put what's the name me down. I can't think of his name. From the Equalizer.
Mm-hmm.
Or not the Equalizer. I said the Equalizer. The Professional.
Oh, okay.
With the little girl that he trained to be an assassin.
Yep.
Uh-huh. But he got damn near killed at the end of that movie. So even though he was good at his job, that's a hole in your game.
True. All right.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Don't listen. Keep me on the right side of the shit, because I'm telling you, I can recruit some folks.
It's true. So my leader is Frank Lucas, American gangster.
You think
Also a real person. Dude, as much shit as he got away with.
he gonna snitch on everybody if he get caught?
Right. And he's still gonna be all right.
I don't know if you snitching on all them. You had
So-
some real motherfuckers in that.
I mean, honestly, like the coldest shit ever when he just walks up to the dude. Like, what you gonna do, Frank? You gonna shoot me? You gonna shoot me here in the middle of the street?
Listen.
Done. Cold as ice. So Frank's up there for me.
I know people personally that's done that, and that ain't no Suicide Squad. You hear what I'm saying?
Tony is also on my squad.
Tony Montana?
Yes.
Tony done.
The other one is Hans Landa from Inglourious Bastards.
Oh,
He is the
You
EC
Google.
calculator. No, Hans was actually on my list, as was Hans Gruber from Die Hard. We have two Hanses. And then, damn, what was the other one? Oh, here's a pool for you.
You get Hans, I'm getting the Bear Jew.
He's not a villain. Can't do it. I did have a bit of a cheat because Denzel's gonna have to play two roles. The other role would be Lonzo.
I knew you was gonna say that.
From Training Day.
Tell me you ain't Google. You Googled.
No, Lonzo was another one that I had already.
Oh, okay.
And Frank
yeah,
Lucas,
your squad's out.
Frank Lucas was mine. The Hanses were mine. The Tony was just because you brought it up when I said.
Yeah, your squad's out.
And last but not least, as the distraction, the young Cruella DeVille, played by Emma Stone.
Your squad's hanging in the back of a meat truck.
I don't disagree with you. You definitely got me at this game, which sucks.
See, when you said
it was my lane,
right? When you said Suicide Squad, the number one thing I thought of was who are the people that just could not be stopped?
Just ruthless, yeah.
Right, like it didn't matter what you did to them, they were still coming. And there were a lot of people that I thought of from the TV lane, like what's the name from Blacklist, The Punisher.
I changed Cruella. It's Cersei Lannister.
Well, see, even she's in the back of a meat truck.
She dies at the end.
Yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Unless you Bobby Fischer and you play chess, you ain't stopping my Suicide Squad.
No, I am not gonna argue. Fools agree. Yours is better.
Listen,
I'm also not gonna lie that I came up with this brilliant idea middle of the day at work, and then was in meetings the rest of the day.
well, I
So
feel like that's
it's
easier for me because
it's been half-assed.
I kind of root for the villain a lot of times.
That's true.
So when I can think of more villains in my head that I liked than superheroes that I follow.
No, I get it.
And because I feel like it's we talked about.
I had one more that was not on, that was mine from the beginning.
What?
And you're gonna say the same thing, that he ends up in a meat bag too. Killmonger.
Aww.
Killmonger.
That motherfucker died from the Black Panther soft ass. How the fuck he gonna get past? Listen, I'm just telling you.
I just like him as a villain.
I don't even think he was a villain.
That's actually a very good point.
And I think Krugler did a good job of trying to show that.
Right, by
just
making you understand
the misunderstood
where he was coming from.
Right. You got abandoned by a royal family to be left to live in the projects.
Yep.
And then you don't have a certain kind of animosity for a motherfucker.
Completely get
I'd be trying to bring y'all down too.
I actually hope, and I don't think this is going to be the case, I actually hope by them kind of opening up the multiverse with Loki and with other shit that's gone on, that Killmonger ends up as Black Panther, but like an alternate universe Black Panther.
Well, I thought that they had said in the last the movie that there was no confirmation of him dying.
So he is
like, I know they did that last scene where he was holding him or whatever, but I thought they said like there was no confirmation he passed.
Right. Because, well, and then Wakanda also has like more advanced technology than everybody. And on top of that, nobody's ever really gone when it comes to comic book movies.
Right.
Now, I've heard that Shuri is going to be the new Black Panther.
And I would be more interested in that.
Yeah.
Right? Because that superhero, and I hate to say it because it's gonna sound chauvinistic, but it fits a woman more than it fits a man.
I could see that.
You're a scratcher. That's what you got. Like what, crazy claws, and then I get my power from getting beat up on type shit. Like,
but that's exactly why. That's exactly why, from a social justice perspective, it can't be a woman.
Well, it makes more sense to be a woman to me. You know what I mean? Because it's usually, and I know it's not what's the word, politically correct for me to say it, but it's usually the women that get beat up and battered on that end up coming out as the phoenix in the other side.
Right. No, I mean, I get it.
So I listen, it makes more sense for her to be the Black Panther than it ever made a dude to be that. And I kind of feel like, I know it was a comic. What's the name make him?
What's that?
What's the dude's name? Stan Lee?
Yeah.
He's a racist.
He was willing to name a superhero after a militant group a supposedly militant group in the United States.
That's exactly why I call him a racist.
I think it's exactly the opposite. And I
See,
think why would your power Lee's whole message?
Then why would your power be to scratch?
Because
so we'll call you a Black Panther.
Because he was more noble than anybody else.
And a scratch is your move?
Vibranium and adamantium. I mean,
I just feel like he turned a panther into a pussy.
He should just be biting people's heads off.
And that's why I feel like you're racist for that.
I just think that the Black Panther logo or the statue looks like the Thundercat statue.
I don't know of a Black Panther statue.
The statue outside of Wakanda shows up almost every time they show Wakanda.
No, I don't know if I know that. I might not have paid attention enough, and I think I have that movie too.
I haven't rewatched that one in a while.
I don't really care to. No, I really don't. Like, I really don't like it at all. Like, I don't like and it could just be me overthinking it, but I highly doubt that I am. And I just feel like that's a weak ass superhero you just made.
I hear you. I think Black Panther is less about Black Panther and more about
Wakanda.
Yeah, exactly. It's about Afrofuturism, and I would love to see more media that delves into that. Like, as Africa, if Africa hadn't been ravaged by colonizers and had become the most prevalent nation state,
I think that everything would be better right now.
I don't necessarily disagree, because when you look at what's valued, it's kind of the same thing in like traditional Eastern philosophy too.
As far as what? Explain.
What's valued? Like valuing,
like money, like
right. Valuing family over wealth. Valuing like just values in general. I actually think that to that end, I mean, that's in my mind. That's why I like it. And maybe weird coming from a white dude. Like,
well, you know what? I'm lying.
See more art that is Afrofuturistic, meaning if Africa were to become the wealthiest and most technologically advanced nation, for lack of a better term, I know it's multiple nations and all that.
Right. But I know what you mean.
Like a united Africa.
That would never happen.
What would that look like? No, because colonizers and imperialists won't ever let it happen.
Right.
Like we have done nothing but destabilize that country since the British Empire invaded.
There was just a video on World Star of a college professor explaining to his students as to how Africa will never be a what's the word he used? A thriving continent, because of the fact that all of the other countries. He said all of the other countries use Africa's resources. And if Africa was allowed to control their own resources, then the rest of the world would starve. And that's the truth. That's the truth, because when you look at somewhere that's so rich in resource that every other country needs, if we're the ones controlling it, you're at our whim. Like we control you.
Right.
Unless we give you this oil or whatever it is you need, you don't get nothing.
Yep. No.
So they couldn't afford for that to take place, because that would hurt everyone, not just America. It would hurt Europe, China, everyone.
But that's exactly why I want to see more of that in media.
But that's exactly why you won't, because I feel like it's not something that's impossible, right? It's not impossible for Africa to turn around and come back on top. They already have everything needed. The only thing they're missing is capital.
Well, it's capital, and they don't have. There isn't a real military.
It's really just capital, because let's be honest, if you had enough people that moved over there with enough capital to say we're building this up,
Akon City and everything else we've talked about.
Then what do you think happens with all those other militaries?
Right.
Half of China's military becomes half of Africa's military. Half of the United States military becomes half of Africa's military. Half of Europe's military becomes half of Africa's military.
Right.
Half of Iran, Iraq, the list goes on. So it wouldn't be hard to swing the pendulum. It's just about having the proper pieces in place.
Right.
And that's what the powers that be will not allow to happen, which is why you won't see movies like that. Because then people will start thinking like, you already see China moving in there like, well, we don't have enough women. Let's give it to African women and stay over here and use the resources. People are starting to catch on as we speak. So the last thing we would want is for the Black folks to catch on,
right,
in Africa to have enough resources to be like, come on, we got you. Oh, then then the world changes.
Well, yeah, and honestly, where we're at today, combined I'll call it black wealth, probably is not enough to do that. Because while there are a few black,
but it wouldn't just be
billionaires-
that. But that's what people are lacking to understand. It wouldn't just be that. If that was the case, of course, you could bring all of your successful celebrities, even though we know that they're not successful in comparison. But we know now in the self-righteous movement, what was the number one thing that white people jumped on that black people was talking about? And this is just a joke, but they ate it alive, being invited to the barbecue.
Yeah.
Am I invited to the barbecue? Can so-and-so come to the, are you letting so you imagine if everybody was like, yeah, nah, y'all can keep y'all's American shit. We going to Africa and we about to get it lit over there.
Right.
Oh, you know, it's going to be a lot of white people that are like, oh, I'm putting my money with y'all. We coming with y'all. Am I invited to the barbecue?
You're not wrong. And guess what? If you have to ask, the answer is no.
Not always. Not always.
Oh, no.
More times than not, correct, but not always. Some people just have not been introduced to the culture enough to know how comfortable they're able to be with it. So they'll ask in order to be like, is it okay if I?
Yeah.
As a way of being courteous. But the truth is, like you said, to us, we're thinking if you got to ask, you're probably not cool enough.
Right. You're probably not going to be comfortable.
But asking is not wrong as well.
Right.
Asking may get you more than assuming you're invited.
True.
So that's all I'm saying.
If you already got it like that, you know.
Bottom line is Black Panther's a pussy. Rest in peace, Chadwick Boseman.
Boseman, not. Black Panther, yes? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. my G. But nah, I'm not gonna say that. I was just gonna say the fact that you took the role though does make me feel a certain kind of way.
Well, but you understand. You've heard the reason. Like he was.
I know.
You know, he was the one that pitched the whole jump from the ship line, right? Like, and bury me with my ancestors. He was the one that put that line in there. Like,
no, I mean, I definitely respect Chadwick. I just feel like that whole interpretation, like you said, it wasn't about the Black Panther. It was about Wakanda.
No,
and if we're gonna make a movie about Wakanda, then make a movie about Wakanda. But if Black Panther is the black logo for superheroes, why make him like that? Like, why make him get beat up on to get his power?
Yeah.
And maybe that's a what do you call it, of the black community, well, you just get beat up on until you eventually stand up and become stronger, but that hasn't happened yet.
Right.
So unless that's an inspirational character, and if that is, you didn't make the movie right.
Well, and on top, so what I will say though is, again, to your point, one, I think Black Panther was more about Wakanda, introducing Wakanda overall.
Right.
I actually think that movie was more about Killmonger than it was about Black Panther. And then
I would have respected it more if it was.
And then you know that the second one is called Wakanda Forever.
Right.
So the second one that's in development right now is like, that one is clearly about Wakanda and less about Black Panther. And honestly, I think that makes sense, though, because even Black Panther, as a superhero, was like Captain America, was a mantle that was passed down. And
I understand what you're saying, right?
Captain America, no real superpower. Yeah, he's a superhuman or whatever, or a genetic whatever, a super soldier.
Right, modification, or you're right.
But he's not. I mean, he doesn't have any like major powers or anything.
He's
honestly Black Panther
genetics, though, like he's super fast, super strong, like that's all you really need if you got a shield.
But I mean, like I put Black Panther more on kind of the Tony Stark level, and maybe that's just because of like Shuri and the technology there, and like more on like the Iron Man, Batman level than like a superhero. You know,
and it's funny that you say that, right? Because my next point was going to be, You don't see Iron Man having a movie about New York.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
No,
who
you're not
gives a
wrong.
fuck where he was from? Is the movie about the superhero or is the movie about the place? I honestly feel like Black Panther was the introduction to white people to let them know Africa's not all flies and dirt.
Oh yeah. No,
You
I
know
don't
what I
disagree
mean?
with you on that at all.
Like, you look at downtown Africa and you'll see a lot of places that you're like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Well, again, I think to your point, that movie was more about aspirational in terms of Wakanda than it was.
But my
Black
question
Panther.
is, for who?
Fair.
For who? That's where I get to the point where it's like, does it kind of strike a nerve with me? Yeah, a bit it does, because it's like, I feel like that movie was more for white people being introduced to the fact that Africa is more than it is for Black people getting behind an actual superhero. Because other than the fact that he's richer than Tony Stark, what is it that we're proud of?
Yeah.
What is it that he does that excites us about the Black Panther?
No, because in that sense,
Nothing.
I mean, it was partially about just representation, which isn't enough. So I get
Right.
That. I get
That's
that.
what I'm getting at. Don't that's what I'm getting at. Don't just represent us and show the place. If you're representing us with the superhero, then give us a superhero worth being represented by.
Right.
And I don't want my let me pump my brakes, but I'm still gonna say it, of course. I don't want my child, if I got the boy coming with sparkly fingernails on his fucking costume, because that was what you made. Like, get the fuck out of here. We see what's going on in the media and the like.
I hear you.
Either a Black boy has to be gay or a gangster. Those are your only two options. Because if you're an actual man, an actual Black man, then you'll get shot down in the streets because you're a threat to someone. Right?
Right.
So you make a movie about a superhero with a manicure, and I'm supposed to be like, oh, you represented us great.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I just don't get it.
I get what you're saying. And I mean, to your point, like, I do believe that, generally speaking, overwhelmingly, Blacks are either presented as, to your point, gangsters.
Gay or gangsters.
Gay or an athlete.
Flamboyant, or we're gangsters.
Or an athlete.
Or we're dead in the street because we're the ones trying to do something that, well, those are the problem. The gays aren't the problem, and the gangsters aren't the problem, because the gays can't reproduce and the gangsters are taking lives. So we're limiting their reproduction. Yeah. And if we do have strong Black men, we kill them. So,
I mean, to your point, it's a microcosm of Africa in general, right?
Yeah, well, maybe Stan Lee was before his time then. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe he ain't racist, because Lord knows I don't want to talk about the dead, but I'll call a spade a motherfucking spade. Even if I'm the spade. Trust and believe, I'll call it. But yeah, that just seemed weird to me. That whole shit's a little weird to me. And I know a lot of people don't look at it that way.
Right.
But it's a little weird to me. So,
well, to your point, like, I do think that, actually, contrary to your point, I do think that representation matters. I do think it was time for a Black superhero, but I understand your point around not the right one.
Like, it just, there was nothing about, like, it almost made me feel like you're advertising to the young kids that want to be Black superheroes. To turn the other cheek, to get beat up on, to let them beat up on you, and that will in the end make you stronger. No, the fuck it won't. Little Black boys and girls stand up the first time they ball their fist up is what will make you stronger.
So pitch me your Black superhero movie. And I know you're not big on superhero movies, but What would you have rather seen?
You know what? It's funny. I think they could have, and they could have, a stronger representation would have been Luke Cage to me.
Very much this. Well, okay. No, I get
And the
that.
only reason why I say it is because if anything you could put on Black folks as a whole is resilience and durability.
Yeah.
You can throw a lot at a motherfucker and they'll still succeed in one way or another. Financially, educationally, whatever it can be. Even after all.
I completely agree with you. I think Luke Cage, and honestly, he was the first one that they really introduced and got some limelight, but it was a Netflix series, not a movie.
Right. Luke Cage makes more sense. Luke Cage was the guy that was trying to stop the gangsters from being gangsters, talking to kids in the community, doing all that shit, and at the same time, didn't want to be a superhero. I don't want people to know me like that.
Right.
That's being Black, not showing people what you're actually capable of, because it starts to get intimidating.
Yeah. Well, and I wonder if they could tell that story in a 2-hour format versus basically.
Well, let's be honest, it's Marvel. You don't have to.
True.
Let's be honest. All Marvel movies are TV shows. They're just 2 hours long.
No, you're right. I mean,
but you don't wrap up the plot in that 2 hour time frame. So make a TV show like you do the rest of them. But don't cut us short. Don't cut us short, or don't try to continue. And I'm not saying you are. No,
I'm with you.
But don't try to manipulate, because you know how many white folks, let's be honest, and I know it's a lot of white folks that's thinking like it's not that deep, but how many white folks was sitting in a boardroom thinking how funny it would be to see a whole bunch of little Black boys running out with diamonds on their fingertips? And how ironic would it be as well? And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be comfortable if you choose to wear diamonds on your fingertips. I'm just saying it is by design, which is why the government is trying to catch kids early. Because you don't, like everybody knows, you don't even develop your, your cerebral cortex and your frontal lobe until 25 years old. So you think that a 13, 10, 12-year-old knows what they're actually making out on TV?
Right.
Now, I'm not saying that me at 10 years old would have been driven to be gay, but I definitely would have wore diamonds on my fingertips if I liked the Black Panther.
Yeah.
And it would have took somebody else thinking like me to be like, Cliff.
maybe not what you want.
I don't know if that's for you.
I don't know that Pops would have let you run around with diamonds on your fingertips.
And if he did, he would still be calling me names to this day.
That's true.
Yeah, that's a fact. And I don't care what, listen, not the F ones, but he'd be calling me, he'd be making fun of me to this day.
Still.
But that's just because of who he knew I was.
Well, yeah.
And you can't let these motherfuckers rock you to sleep, because that's what you're here for, to be rocked to sleep. If you're not at the table, you're food on their plate. And none of us are at the table.
Yeah.
So trust and believe they're eating off of us as we speak. The idea, the name of the game is finding out which appendage they're cutting off, pull that motherfucker in and get back off that plate.
Right.
Because everybody rips a leg off a turkey, but that turkey don't know once it's cooked.
It's true.
You feel me? You got me fucked up. You ain't even cooking me, G. I'm looking at this shit from, like we said, and that's my problem. I'm looking at what people are doing to me 3 steps ahead.
Yeah.
But I don't look at my moves 3 steps ahead. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I look at what's my potential openings, my potential vulnerabilities 3 steps ahead, but I don't Right, but I don't ignore my vulnerabilities and soar to my goals 3 steps ahead.
Right. Well, if you're always, and honestly, this don't mean for this to sound as profound as maybe it does, but if you're always worried about the next threat, you're not worried about the next goal.
You're right. That's a tattoo worthy quote.
Like, and honestly, maybe I don't know. I think that. No, I'm gonna leave it at that. If you're
That's a tattoo-worthy quote.
If you're more worried about your threats than your goals, it's gonna be hard to be successful. And unfortunately, that would be a great quote to end the show on. But
we're still short.
We still got 20 minutes.
That's fine.
Unless we want to wrap it early.
No, I ain't for wrapping it early, but that's it. You ain't gotta, because I think I'm gonna get that tatted. I need to get it somewhere where I can see it at all times too. Because that's me in a nutshell.
Well,
I'm so worried about what's open on me. And you know what?
And where I was,
it makes sense from fighting too. I was more of a defensive than offensive fighter, and it makes sense because I wouldn't throw as many punches as I should throw because I was too concerned about making sure I was tucked for the one you're throwing at me.
I hear that. And where I was going to go that I kind of stopped myself because obviously while consider myself to be an ally of the black community,
you don't got to consider.
I think that is part of the black conundrum, and I think it's by design.
As far as what? Explain more. What you mean?
We as a country in particular, and maybe as a world.
What, like saying we got to be we care about the defensive more than the...
We have put blacks into a position where we have them worrying about the next threat versus achieving goals. And wasn't that a Pac quote?
It could be. I mean, I'm not going to blame that.
Accomplished, right? Like, is that?
I'm not going to blame that on me, though. I'm not going to give myself that. You know what I mean? And that could be at the end of the day, but that's not. But
is that the game plan? And has that been the game plan?
Oh, I'm sure.
To your point of keeping that community on its toes with threats so they can't mobilize. So
I'm sure now we just got technology to where we can, what do you call it? You can
almost
automate
the defenses.
We can fluff threats up to where they're not threatening.
Right. I hear you.
It's still a threat, but you're not looking at it as a threat because it doesn't come across as threatening. Oh, it's quite the opposite. It's inclusive now.
Say more there.
The inclusion is however you feel, whatever you want, be or do within a realm, right?
Right.
But once again, that's a thin line. And to all the listeners, I'm not speaking about anyone specifically, but the reason you are the way you are is because you found that out yourself. Now, I understand, and I would be shocked if people didn't feel like, what's the point in advertising? You feel what I'm saying? And I'm not saying anything about any specifics. Like, I know the whole thing that's going on right now is the baby and the Lil Nas X, or not Lil Nas X, but they said that's where it stemmed from. Is the two of the situations are somewhat connected, right?
Yeah.
And I listen.
We hit on this a little bit last week, right? Yeah. Listen,
Lil Nas X should do everything he wants to do in his performance, right? Everything. I don't stop. Right. Do what you do. That's not advertisement. That's you living your truth. But then when I look at like the actual, like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not even a media thing, it's a propaganda thing. And like you said, I guess it kind of does fall into what we was talking about last week a bit, where it's like, I'm not pointing at you, I'm pointing at it all.
Right.
And what you're doing is you're focusing on this because that's the way to get to me, right? Yep. I can tell he's a straight male, so I'll call him homophobic. Nah, I got a problem with this bitch pussy in the screen as well. I got a problem with all of it. You're advertising all of it to our children.
Yeah.
That's the issue, is all of it. And then we get to this point where it's like, no, you're being this or you're being that. No, bitch, I'm being a parent.
Right.
I don't give a fuck how you feel or think I should raise my children. You didn't pop them out. You didn't shoot the nut.
Right.
So stay the fuck out of my household, right?
And this goes back to...
She can watch what she wants to watch, but the propaganda is the issue. That if you feel against this, then you're against this. You feel what I'm saying? Like, if I feel like that's not for me, all of a sudden, you're against that.
Yeah. No, I completely... Well, it's the whole cancel culture thing. It's like... If you're not for it, then you're against it. And
I don't want to see two heterosexual people kissing out in public, all tongue and that. I don't want to see that. Is there not a place for that?
Right.
So what the fuck do you think I want to do with two men or two women?
On our phone after the show.
Well, do that right. Do that there. I don't want to see it in public. Fuck. That's how it goes. That's what it is. And then when people say it or speak on it, it's like, well, what's the issue? Is that the issue?
Well, no, to your point, like
everything.
Just because something's not for me doesn't mean that I'm against it.
Right.
And just because it's something that I don't think should be, to your point, publicized or propagandized, doesn't mean that I don't think that they should be able to live their life. But I also, it does mean that, like, I'm entitled to my opinion as well. Like,
my best friends are people I disagree with.
Right.
You, Blue, you name it, I disagree with them.
Right. Well, and
that doesn't stop me from loving you.
Right.
You feel me? Absolutely. I still love you the same. So you can be exactly what I'm talking about. I just don't want it advertised to my children, right?
Right.
Be it, right? But you don't have to bring transgenders into the schools to read to the kids. Like, for what though? Like, for what? For what?
Well,
like,
so this is where I do have a little bit of a split opinion here.
Because what you're saying is you're trying to get them used to seeing that they're going to. They're growing up in it. They're going to. What the issue is, the adults.
This goes back to a little bit of representation. Is that and I have split opinion on this, so let me get through all of it.
Right.
If there's a kid who is in that questioning mindset, seeing somebody that embodies what they're feeling can have a very positive effect, and there is a high depression and suicide rate among LGBTQ community, especially youth, especially now.
Well, wait, before and after, though.
Let me finish on this. However, I also think that to your point of introducing almost too early, you are adding to the confusion versus someone who is already identified that way.
Yeah, bring them into middle school.
Right.
Bring them into middle school. There's no point in talking to a kindergartner and they're coming home asking. And it's not even about that. It's about the fact that it doesn't matter. Are you their teacher?
Right.
If you're their teacher, I have no problem with my child having a transgendered teacher. But if you're not their teacher, what the fuck are you talking to a kindergarten class for? If you're not there for career day or what the fuck are we doing here? I just don't get it. Like, just let the kids grow up, let them figure themselves out. If they want to go down that path, they'll go down that path.
Right.
But I'm online and it's saying shit like, you think he might be gay? Click this survey. Well, why are we advertising? Like, why are we trying to? I thought you knew it. Like, right? Isn't that the argument? Mm-hmm. You knew from birth.
You were born that way. Yeah.
Right. So why the fuck are we just asking people, oh, you. And let's be honest. We all know the algorithm. We know the algorithms that are coming, that are out. There's no reason for those questions on my phone.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's no, like, I've never clicked on anything that would give you an indication that that's should be a question that comes across my phone. So if it comes across my phone, my immediate reaction is a warning sign saying, wait a minute, what's coming across my daughter's phone?
Right. I hear you on that.
And that's where I have the issue.
Well, and that's where we're also coming to a state where, and I wholeheartedly have mixed feelings about this, but there is a level of regulation that is needed online, and you're seeing it now in the forms of laws.
Yeah, I do agree. I agree with the free speech and all that, but yeah. I do think that there should be some sort of something at this point,
right?
Because it can't just be as free as it was with the devils that we have out here.
Well, no,
because everybody has ulterior motives. Some people just want to explain, I'm harmless.
Yeah.
I'm just living my truth.
Right.
And to those people, I clap and applaud.
Well, and it's different too when it is, well, and this is where we get into like QAnon bullshit. Like the promise of the internet 30 years ago was the long tail, and you could find niche communities that like where anyone basically could find understanding.
Right.
The problem is put to abuse, you end up with shit like QAnon. And it's just,
well, not to just think it's dumb motherfuckers, man. We got more dumb people out here than we really think we do.
That's by design. That's by design.
Right. I agree with that as well.
I
was watching another World Star video where he was talking some crazy shit. I'm not gonna lie. He wasn't actually talking some crazy shit. He was actually telling truth, but the way he presented it was crazy. What he said was COVID doesn't exist for the rich. That was the clickbait of it.
Yeah.
So you click on it, and what he was saying wasn't a lie. He was saying, so basically, I go onto a plane. This is just him speaking. This isn't me.
Yeah.
He says, I go onto a plane. I'm sitting in first class, and I'm being harassed about putting my mask over my nose. He said, so I put my mask over my nose. He says, I get to my destination. I have to have a screening before I get my test. I have the COVID test. I have to wait before I get the results, before I can be released into the place that I'm going. And then he said, I take the same trip next month. I get a private jet, no mask, no pilots with masks, no
right.
screenings, no COVID checks, no nothing. I walk off the plane straight into the country, no mask, no check, no nothing. And for some reason they allow me to. But if I walk onto a commercial airline, I have to go through this. He said it's an inconvenience of the people, which is for, I'm not going to get into what he was getting as to what it was for, but it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
If you have money, and that's always been the case, it's the way this.
What's the whole Magic Johnson thing, right?
If you have money, nothing is off the table.
Right. Well,
nothing's off the table.
I know you're not a big South Park fan, but that's how they cured AIDS, was just liquefied cash pumped into the bloodstream. That was the cure for AIDS.
That is fucking genius.
South Park, man.
That
hit
is
some home
fucking
runs.
genius. Now I didn't know South Park was coming like that, because
No,
that
they
would
are.
actually that would have actually made me. I'd have probably chuckled. I wouldn't have died laughing, but I understand.
About season 7 to about season 15, there was some really good shit.
For real?
Yeah.
I'm just not a big fan.
No,
I wasn't a big fan when it came out.
Well, and honestly, I wasn't when it came out. And honestly, the first 3 or 4 seasons, I'm like, whatever. But then, like I said, it hit the point where it became very satirical.
Right.
And yeah, gave us
Shut up, real
gems
quick.
like liquefied cash was the cure for AIDS. It gave us gems like the whole rich and successful men. It ended up being aliens were controlling their minds, which is why they
I think
would
I
sleep
saw
with
that
multiple women or whatever.
I think I saw that one.
And then they shot this dude who was dressed up as an alien.
Yeah, I think I saw that one. But yeah, South Park, I mean, don't get me wrong. I know the creators of,
Yeah.
and I know that they are smart people, right? I know that, listen, that's the thing. I don't want to call it an ulterior motive, but I feel like we're in the days of Led Zeppelin. You know what I mean? How they used to say, or Def Leppard or whatever, like where they used to say, run the record back and you'll get the actual message they're trying to give type shit. And in some cases, they did actually have messages in their records in reverse. And I feel like that's what we're living through now, where it's like everything has a plot.
Yeah.
But what's the actual language?
The actual goal. Yeah.
Exactly. What are you actually like expressing to me here? Like, you're not going to give it to me straight. We're past those days of giving it to you straight. Now we're in the Mary Poppins era where everything has to be given with a teaspoon of sugar.
Yeah. Well, I mean, honestly, and know that this, well, fuck it. That's what the Trump campaign did marvelously, was they found the right way to target and the right way to advertise to people to get them on board with him. Whether it was completely bullshit, complete lies, or whatever, you see the shit enough, you do start to question. And to your point, it's the same idea. If you are continuously bombarded by this stuff, unless you are a strong-willed individual, you do start to question. In terms of, it's the whole gaslighting thing. Like, if you continuously see it over and over again, you start questioning things that you didn't previously question.
Right.
And I think questioning things is important, but there is such malicious intent behind it these days that it's meant to destabilize.
Right.
And honestly, that's Russia's whole game right now, and it's been proven time and time again.
I think the whole vaccine situation is another issue like that, where it's like all of a sudden it's been politicized, whether you're vaccinated or not.
Yep. But we knew that.
Like, what the fuck does that mean? Who I give a fuck? Listen, first of all, let me explain to you that they're all devils.
Fair.
All of them. Biden, Trump, Kamala, all of them are devils. You don't pursue a political career unless you like power.
Yep. Agree there.
You're a devil.
There's no philosopher kings.
Yeah, that period point blank. That's how I feel about it. So I'm not on nobody's side but my own. If I feel uncomfortable, then I feel uncomfortable.
Right.
If I'm rolling the dice, so to speak, that shouldn't fucking involve you.
Yeah.
Right? Because you're vaccinated.
Right.
Right? So I don't get it. Shut the fuck up. They're going to make you wear a mask, whether you are or you aren't, regardless. That's just the time that we're in now.
Yep.
Period.
Well, and again, there are other countries that were already doing that. Like,
if we're all vaccinated, there will be another reason for us to wear masks tomorrow.
yep. Well, there is some fact behind that there is always some superbug that is waiting around the corner. There is always some virus, and to some extent, it is survival of the fittest. And
Listen, I'm not saying that. I'm not even gonna say that. I'm not gonna say that. I was about to say I'm not gonna say that I don't fear, and that's a lie. I don't fear. I know what could happen.
yeah,
I know the worst that could happen. And would I want it to? No.
right.
But I'd be goddamned if I'm forced into a situation where I have to compromise my morals to do something that I feel uncomfortable with just to so-called live the life I'm expected to.
Yeah.
But we could change this shit real quick. And the way that it's been going, it looks like it's about to be changed real quick anyway. So you talking about survival of the fittest, it's going to be that a lot sooner than a lot of motherfuckers think on the rate we're going.
No doubt.
And certain motherfuckers have planned for that, and certain motherfuckers haven't.
Well, and we got into that topic a lot over the last year. I think the other side of it is, plenty of science fiction has become science fact.
Right.
One major concept that we haven't hit yet is either World War III or it is the resource wars. And based on our current trajectory of either Eden or Oblivion, as the 2020 book said, or the 2020 decade said, that'll determine which way we go. And the thing is we are spending so much on dumb shit where if we put that same level of investment into clean water for the planet, clean food, clean
I feel like we
energy,
got to get the old structure out. We got to get the old guards out of here.
you're
That's
not
the only
wrong.
way we
The
survive
question
is if,
the question
because the
is-
kids are on their path to trying to change shit.
I don't disagree, and I'm sure
We're not the ones stopping it, but we're not the ones helping it either.
no.
So I feel like we gotta be the sacrificial generation to be like, nah, if we can't do nothing else, we can stop this from going any further.
Yeah. Or
And it ain't
or
happening,
at least
so.
slow down the trajectory so that you can't
Right.
make a course change, right? Like, let's face it, the line we use in corporate America all the time is this is a tanker, it's not a speedboat. Takes a little time to turn
Right.
that bitch. Like
That's just an excuse that motherfuckers give
I don't
you to
disagree
tell
with
you
you.
why they're not making such, because we all
Not
know
making
this shit can,
changes. You
and
can
see
change things
that's why
immediately
people
if you
don't
want
like
to.
me right now at my job because I know shit. And I'll tell you, you can tell me all that bullshit you want, but the truth is, if you wanted to put that in place right now, that'd be in place in the next 5 minutes.
right. Or
So
if
the
you
fact
have-
that you're telling me it can't happen is the fact that you're telling me you don't want it to.
happen. Or you are acknowledging that someone above you doesn't want it to happen.
Either way, I know where we lie here.
Right.
So you can tell me all that bullshit that you want to whisper in my ear. I'm not no stupid hoe.
Right.
I know this is gang. So right now, while we're in this meeting talking face to face, what are we getting to?
Right.
Because you can keep them on that same game you got them on. I'm not. So either you gonna get rid of me or you gonna lift me up because I know a little bit more than you thought I did. Or I could start punching holes in your motherfucking boat.
Right. Or put together your Suicide Squad.
I don't need it. Listen, you know me more than anybody. I don't need a squad. I do my shit
Yourself.
by myself.
No doubt. All right, man. Well, we're at about 2:05, and I'm falling asleep. So, with all of that, you got anything to take us out?
I'm stupid amped and ready to go. Viva Liberacion.
And with all of that, check us out. YouTube, Facebook. Out on the podcast, Apple Podcast, just search Foolproof Entertainment Network. You can find all 3 of the shows on the network. The Mind and Body Understanding Podcast with Jeff Pharion. Hit the Showers, which is coming at you live tomorrow night and is moving to Tuesdays for the second show to start talking a little bit of football. And, of course, the flagship right here, Do Fools Agree. Appreciate all of y'all. Peace out, fools.
Peace out, motherfuckers. Don't fall for the bullshit and love everybody.